Chapter 7: The Living and the Non-Living. When we look around, we find a wide variety of things like human beings, trees, cars, stones, birds, insects, clothes, papers, and pencils. Human beings, trees, birds, and insects are living things. Others like cars, stones, clothes, papers, and pencils are non-living things. Both living things and the non-living things are made up of matter. We know that anything that has mass and occupies space is called matter. So, all living and non-living things have mass and they occupy space. All living things look different from one another, but they possess some common characteristics which differentiate them from the non-living things. Let us learn about the characteristics of living things, which distinguish them from the non-living things. Characteristics of living things. All living things are made up of cells. A building is made up of bricks, so a brick is the unit of construction. Likewise, all living things are made up of tiny cells. Cell is the structural and functional unit of all living things. Some plants and animals consist of a single cell. They are called unicellular organisms. Amoeba, paramecium, bacteria, etc. are some common examples of unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms are extremely small and are not visible to the naked eyes. They can only be seen with the help of a microscope and thus are called microscopic organisms. Most of the plants and animals we see around us are made up of millions of cells. They are called multicellular organisms. In multicellular organisms, the cells are not alike. Cells are of different sizes, shapes, and they perform different functions. Structural organization is found in living things. The cells in multicellular organisms are organized into specialized groups, which perform specific functions. A group of similar cells that perform a particular function is called a tissue. Different groups of tissues together perform a function. A group of tissues which work together to perform a particular function in the body is called an organ. Heart, lungs, and eyes are some organs of our body. These are made up of different tissues. A group of organs which perform a particular function in coordination with each other is called an organ system. Organs like mouth, stomach, esophagus, liver, and intestine together form an organ system called the digestive system. Living things move. All living things show movement. Animals move from one place to another in search of food and shelter, and also to escape from their enemies. This movement is called locomotion. Animals like lions, giraffes, zebras, and dogs move with the help of their legs. Animals like birds, flies, and mosquitoes have wings to fly. Fish swim with the help of their fins. Plants are fixed to the ground. They do not move from one place to another. Plants can only move their certain body parts like leaves. The sunflower always turns towards the sun. Touch-me-not plant closes its leaves on touching. Some non-living things like clocks, clouds, and cars also move. Their movement is different from movement in living things, as they move due to some external energy or force. Living things need food. Can we live without food? No, we cannot. We need energy to perform various activities like running, reading, and writing. We get this energy from the food we eat. Food is also required for growth and repair processes. All green plants prepare their own food by taking in carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll by the process of photosynthesis. So, green plants are called autotrophs. All animals get their food from plants and other animals. They are called heterotrophs. Animals like cows, deer, rabbits, and birds eat only parts of plants such as leaves, stems, roots, fruits, and seeds. Animals like lions, tigers, and leopards kill and eat small animals. Living things respire. Hold your breath for a few seconds. Can you hold it longer? No. All living things breathe to live. All living things inhale, take in oxygen-rich air, and exhale throughout carbon dioxide-rich air. The process of inhaling and exhaling air is called breathing. Animals like tigers, cats, and dogs, along with human beings, breathe through lungs. Insects like cockroaches, flies, mosquitoes, and grasshoppers breathe through air holes, spiracles present on the surface of their bodies. Fish breathe through gills. They absorb dissolved oxygen from water. Plants breathe through tiny pores present on the surface of their leaves, called stomata. Aquatic plants take in dissolved oxygen from water. All organisms respire to get energy. Respiration is the process of breaking down of food in the body of an organism with the help of oxygen to release carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Carbon dioxide and water vapor are given out through exhalation. Food plus oxygen, respiration, gives energy plus carbon dioxide plus water. Living things excrete. We know that all living things take food. A part of food we eat is utilized for energy. The unused part of the food is the waste material. Our body also produces waste materials in other life processes like respiration. The waste materials, being poisonous, need to be removed from the body of organisms. The process of removal of waste materials by a living organism from its body is called excretion. The waste materials are excreted as urine, feces, and sweat. Body organs like kidney, lungs, liver, and skin take part in the removal of wastes. Carbon dioxide produced by animals during respiration is released from the body through exhalation. Plants also release carbon dioxide during respiration by tiny pores called stomata. Plants also produce some other waste products. These waste products are either stored in their different parts like leaves, bark, and fruits, or are removed as various secretions like gums, resins, and latex. Plants store waste products in such a way that they do not harm the plants. Living things grow. Look at your pictures when you were an infant. You were so small. Now look at yourself. You are grown up and increased in size. All living things grow on their own. Growth is actually an increase in size of the body. A tiny seed grows into a baby plant, and after some time, it grows into a big plant or tree. Plants continue to grow throughout their life. A small puppy grows into a dog. A chick comes out of an egg and grows into a hen. Animals grow up to a certain age only. They stop growing after they have attained a certain size and shape. You will also grow for a few more years, and then you would stop growing. You may say that some non-living things, like a crystal of sugar, grows in size. This growth is external, that is, due to addition of substances from outside. You grow because of multiplication and growth of cells inside your body. So, the growth in living organisms is internal, that is, from inside. Living things have a definite lifespan. We know that all living beings start from a single cell. All living organisms are born, grow into adults, produce offspring, get old, and finally die. So, all living organisms follow a definite pattern of birth, growth, reproduction, aging, and death. The time period for which a living organism remains alive is called its lifespan. All living things have a definite lifespan. Lifespan is different for different organisms. Organisms, lifespan, organisms, lifespan. Bacteria, 15 to 20 minutes. Dog, 16 to 18 years. Mayfly, 1 day. Lion, 20 to 25 years. Housefly, 1 to 4 months. Ostrich, 45 to 50 years. Rice plant, 4 months. Human, 65 to 80 years. Rat, mouse, 2 to 3 years. Tortoise, 120 to 150 years. Squirrel, 8 to 9 years. Banyan tree, 200 years or more. After completion of life cycles, living things die. Biologically, things are classified as living, non-living, and dead. Dead things are the remains of living things. For example, furniture like table and chair are made up of wood. Wood was once the part of a tree and thus is a dead part of the plant. Other examples of dead things are leather, bone, tusk, etc. Living things reproduce. All living things give birth to young ones of their own kind. That is, all living things reproduce. Animals like cows and cats give birth to young ones. Cows reproduce by giving birth to calves, whereas cats give birth to kittens. Human beings reproduce by giving birth to babies. Some baby animals like birds, frogs, snakes, and mosquitoes hatch from eggs. Plants usually reproduce through their seeds or from other parts of the plant like stem and leaves. Living things respond to stimuli. What happens when anyone pricks your hand with a small pin? You feel pain and move your hand away quickly. Here, pricking with the pin is the stimulus and the quick withdrawal of your hand is the response. When we touch the leaves of Mimosa pudica plant, it quickly folds its leaves. Here, touching is the stimulus and folding of leaves is the response. Stimulus is any change in the surroundings of an organism to which it responds. All living things respond to stimuli like temperature, touch, light, sound, and smell by moving towards it or away from it. No more. Reproduction leads to an increase in the number of individuals of a species. In the absence of reproduction, the organisms would perish after completing their lifespan. So, reproduction ensures the survival of a species. So, all living things can feel and are able to perceive the changes occurring around them. This ability to respond to any external change is called sensitivity. Think. The shoot of a plant grows towards light and roots of a plant grow towards gravity. Can you name the stimuli and response in these cases? Viruses, entities between living and non-living. Viruses are microorganisms which have the characteristics of both living and non-living things. They are just like any other non-living thing outside the body of a living thing. They can grow and multiply only inside the living things. Viruses are often considered the connecting link between the living things and the non-living things. Parameter. Living things, non-living things. Cells. Living things are made up of cells. Non-living things are not made up of cells. Movement. Living things can move on their own. Non-living things cannot move on their own. We have to move them. Food. Living things need food. Non-living things do not need food. Respiration. Living things respire. Non-living things do not respire. Excretion. Living things excrete to get rid of waste products formed in the body. Non-living things do not excrete. Growth. Living things grow. Non-living things do not grow. Lifespan. Living things have a definite lifespan. Non-living do not have a definite lifespan. Reproduction. Living things reproduce themselves. Non-living things do not reproduce. Response to stimuli. Living things respond to stimuli. They feel and react. Non-living things do not respond to stimuli.